Hi, so I will be presenting this week's assignment now. The first question asked us to create a graphic object class designed to handle shading using texture. So I have done that here. I have even covered the fourth question and did it on a per mesh basis. And if I run this, uh, you'll see right now it will be using a default texture, one of the objects, and the other one would be using the dice. And yeah, you can see here this is using the default texture, which is here. And right now I can't really showcase the mesh thing, but I'll do that in the third question that I'll be going over. So if I'm just showing that it can either take a mesh number or without mesh number, it works as well. So yeah, you can see here. The second part asks us to do the lighting and the material properties. So for that, it's pretty much the same way uh, the only color one works, except now I have to, instead of one color, there would be like three different colors, the ambient, diffuse, and specular properties of the material. And for that, I have taken them in a loop here, and the lights are not, as per my understanding, are not related to the model. So I am not doing anything with them in the for loop, but in the for loop, I'm definitely changing the material properties for setting the material properties for each mesh here. And if I'll run this, you won't see the different meshes because these are just single meshed objects. They are just like two objects. And by the way, the code has significantly reduced. It's just two uh, boxes. The draw scene just needs these two things now. So other than that, the third one is where I can show you actually what. Uh, so I have like couple of models here, a wooden cabin and a frigate. Uh, so the wooden cabin actually has a couple of meshes. So uh, I'm gonna try to. Okay, I'm gonna try to demonstrate that I'm actually doing the mesh thing and not lying about it in the video till now. Uh, so as soon as it's run, so there's the frigate that has some lighting, and this is kind of what I was trying to show. So right now first this is the second mesh or the first, whatever. One mesh is using this texture, the other one is using the brick texture, one is using white color, the other one is using fire brick color. And if I go now and kind of tell it not to use the brick texture and run it again, I think it'll still use the wood cabin texture on the whole, or maybe not. Maybe the bottom one would be black. I can fix that as well. If that's the case. Uh, no. Yeah, it's still at the bottom. There is the brick texture because I'm only setting this one mesh and not the other one. So it starts using the default texture, which is the brick texture. So if I just do this, and then it'll call this function that only takes that doesn't take the mesh number. This text set text to path. So now hopefully, yes, you can see this weird red texture. I can even get rid of that uh, just to demonstrate. But, okay, sorry. that went wrong because I have a 0 here. Yeah, so you can see the correct texture is here without that weird red color. And I'm not sure if I'll be using these models, but for now they do. And the scaling I'm just doing here because I can't figure out Blender still now. And other than that, the further work question, I tried to do something, but I mean, what my thought process was, I thought that I can have a class shader type which has a enum, shader texture light, and shader color light, and within my within my render, I can switch from one shader to another shader depending on the type, and I call set shader texture light and set shader color light and set the type. So this didn't seem to work that well. I mean, work at all. When I tried to actually do this, so first I was trying to like have a texture here, and after that, on the first mesh I was trying to set a texture, and on the second mesh I was trying to set a color shader light instead of shader texture light, but doesn't really work. It just basically sets it all to white. It all sets the whole thing to shader color light instead of shader texture light, but hopefully I was in the right direction. Sorry for the long video. Thank you.